Well, good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you all here to the first press conference that we've done with people in person since the beginning of this pandemic, but we're practicing good social distancing. We've all learned quite a bit about that, and I'm pleased that you're all here with us. I know there are some reporters here by conference call, and if that is you, just mute your phone, and then you can *6 when we're done. When we're ready for questions, you can *6 again to unmute and ask any questions that you might have. But I'd like to start by thanking a couple of people. First of all, we are in a building, one of two buildings that's owned by Oakland County resident Roger Penske. And Roger is just one of many examples of people from the business community in Oakland County that heard there was a need, saw that there was a way to help, and just stepped up and volunteered. And Roger owns both of these buildings, and they're both vacant. And he heard through the grapevine, I think actually from one of my emails, that we needed warehouse space. We are filling up these two buildings. The one across the street is filled with all sorts of PPE and other supplies, and this one today, as you can see, is filled with our Oakland Together small business toolkits. We couldn't have done this without the warehouse capacity, and I want to thank Roger and his team for making this warehouse available to us. I also want to thank another special person, and that is my Deputy Executive, Sean Carlson, who oversees a number of functions, including our economic development team. And our folks in economic development really leaned into this task. You know, it's one thing for me to come up with a crazy idea, but it's another thing to get it implemented and executed and out into the hands of the people who need it. And Sean and his team, many of them are here, have just done a tremendous job making this all happen. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about what this is in a minute. You know, from the beginning of this pandemic, we've all known that it's important to keep safe, and for us and for folks to work safe, for those who need to be at work, for them to work safely. And this is simply another step in our effort to help make sure that happens in Oakland County. As we begin what we're sort of calling the reopening phase of this pandemic in Oakland County, it continues to be critical that we do this in a way that is prudent, that relies on the best science and public health. And I'm happy that my public health director, Kathy Forsley, is with me here today as well. And that we do this in a way that responsibly keeps employees and customers of our businesses safe as we navigate this new phase of the pandemic. Small businesses in particular have been hit incredibly hard in Oakland County. By small businesses, we use the definition of 50 employees or less, so that's getting up to a medium-sized company. But these businesses are really the lifeblood of economic activity in Oakland County. They represent 93% of all businesses in our county. So it's critical that we help them get back on their feet as soon as possible. It's critical for a number of reasons. It's critical for them to get back on their feet economically. It's critical for their employees to get back to a life that reflects a more normal that they used to know. But I will also say I think it's critical for the state of Michigan that Oakland County get back on its feet economically. In many ways, we remain the economic engine of this state. 20% of all the economic output in Michigan happens here in Oakland County. And if we're going to be successful as a state, we got to make sure that Oakland County businesses have what they need. Now, we've already issued a number of health orders, and I can't thank our business community enough, both for the way that they have responded to those orders and also the way, as I said, with Roger, and you're going to see Ruben in a minute, who's another example, the way they've leaned in to help everyone in this county through this crisis. And they've really been a true partner in all of this. One of the ways that we have tried as a county to navigate this pandemic is like this. We're not about issuing orders and then telling you how we're going to enforce those orders, although obviously those things happen, but we've really tried to be partners with our residents and our business communities. And I think this kit, more than anything, demonstrates the way that we want to work with our businesses. We're not just about telling you what the guidelines are. We want to help you succeed in implementing these guidelines in your own specific places of business. So these toolkits I believe, are going to have everything you need to get started again and be successful as you navigate what reopening looks like for you. So let me just tell you that in these kits, and there's 10,000 kits that are going to be going out starting this morning, so they've already started. We started in Birmingham, and I'm so happy. I think there's a picture up here of Ingrid T. from the Downtown Development Authority of the City of Birmingham. They've already started to distribute these kits to their businesses in Birmingham. I know Ferndale and Hazel Park are coming up later today. As we roll these out, these kits are going to be so critical for these small businesses. And in these kits are going to be everything that you need to get started. So it's going to be the PPE, the personal protective equipment. It's going to be masks. It's going to be sanitizers. It's going to be gloves, right? It's going to be something that's very challenging to get these days, which was one of the touchless thermometers so that you can test your employees before they start to work. The county purchased, over the last couple of weeks, the county's purchased 30,000 bottles of hand sanitizer, 10,000 of the touch-free thermometers, 60,000 social distancing floor decals. So you can literally put on these decals on the floors in your business to help people understand where the distancing requires are. 10,000 we care about your safety posters so that people are aware that this is a safe environment to be in. 10,000 flat top totes, which are the gowns for businesses where that makes sense. But also, just as importantly, resources that those businesses need to figure out how to reorder supplies. We're going to connect our businesses with our Emergency Operations Center, which is transitioning from just supplying PPE to the hospitals and first responders to also being something of a co-op, a supply chain for our local businesses, because we've gotten actually pretty good at securing supplies. We don't have everything we need, but we've gotten pretty good at securing supplies, and our health system, our health operators have gotten pretty good at their own supply chains as well. So we're going to pivot to continuing to help our healthcare providers, but also our local businesses secure these items as we move forward. So I think these kits are a powerful message to our businesses that we're here to help you. We want you to be successful. And when your industry is ready, when the governor's guidelines say that your particular interest your industry is ready, and we know that that's evolving every day. This week we saw more industries come online, and we know that as we get to phase 4, and it certainly seems by the data that we are nearing entering the phase 4 of this pandemic, we know that more businesses like retail and restaurants and barbershops and those things will be coming online. And so we didn't want to wait, so we're going to get these kits out now so that they can be up and running when possible. So just so you know, we're distributing these kits in 3 phases. Today starts phase 1, which is 3,000 businesses that are in our Main Street Oakland program, which is 29 different communities across Oakland County. But phase 2 is going to be about 5,000 business kits distributed through our DDAs, our Chamber of Commerces, and the like, and they're going to help us distribute another group of those. And then finally, another 2,000 that are not covered by Main Street or in a DDA. We know there's those businesses as well. I also want to mention that after the launch today, going forward, we're also going to make these kits available to our faith-based communities, so pastors and ministers can get one for their churches or their synagogues or temples as appropriate, and our nonprofit organizations as well, because they're businesses in our county as well who have to keep their employees and visitors safe as well. So our goal is very simple. We want every employee and every customer in a business in Oakland County to have a safe experience. It's that simple. We want our businesses to be successful, and we want them to be safe. And I think that's what everybody wants. I know that's what our business community wants, and we're happy to provide these in order to do that. So I want to introduce somebody without whom we could not be doing what we're doing today. He's another example of a business in Oakland County who heard a need, had their own challenges through this pandemic, actually got a small business loan from Oakland County that we made available. We made $14 million available for small businesses in Oakland County to sort of survive this initial phase and the shutdown phase. And Global Office Solutions is a female-owned business, actually, right here in Oakland County in Novi. And Ruben is with me here from Global Office Solutions, who heard a need and said, okay, how can we help get this done? And as you'll see, all of this didn't just happen overnight. It happened with Ruben and Global Office Solutions help, and all of these young people that you see here who also pitched in. So let me turn it over to Ruben now to tell you just a little bit about how this came together and what they did, the need they saw, and how they were able to scramble to get this together for us today. So without further ado.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, good afternoon. Ruben Levy, Global Office Solutions. Just want to say thanks, Dave and the team and everyone involved from Oakland County. It's been amazing. As Dave had mentioned, we did receive a grant from Oakland County that was extremely helpful for my business and our business. My wife and I, we've been in business for about 21 years. We're a business supply company, obviously with all the businesses closing down. Our business overall dropped dramatically. So we've been scrambling like a lot of other people. We are an essential business, so we have stayed open. We have found different avenues to get supplies to help a lot of the type of PPE and things that we see here. We're doing that for our clients. The opportunity came about to do these kits. This was a process that came up and a whole idea that was developed by Oakland County, which I think is an amazing, amazing idea because there are a lot of businesses that are struggling out there. For starters, number one. Number two, getting back into it and being safe about getting back into business and making sure employees feel comfortable. Myself, we've had the exact situation happening to us where we have certain employees that just don't feel as safe coming back in and want to have some of that. So all these products that you see going into these kits really provide a very, very safe environment to go back and reopen businesses and get businesses back going. Oakland County's really stepped up amazing with this. We've been able to scramble and start working on kitting all of these. It was a little bit of an undertaking. There's quite a few people involved on this, but being able to get these kits built and starting really this morning, and we've already made 3 or 4 deliveries to communities out there, probably over 1,000 kits. And those are already being picked up by businesses within the community. It's really just fantastic. We're super, super proud. And again, thank you for really giving us the opportunity. And we're Oakland County-based business. We've been in Novi since we opened 21 years ago. And this is just extremely important to see the economy get back on its feet and get rolling again. And this is a huge step forward. So thank you again, Dave, and the entire team at Oakland County. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So thank you, Ruben. We could not have done this without Ruben Levy and the folks from Global. And this was no small task. It's one thing to dream up an idea of putting 10,000 bins together packed with all sorts of important supplies and equipment. It's another thing to actually do it. So really want to thank you. One other person I do want to thank, by the way, Bill Fudge of Fudge Forms, another Oakland County business, and a printer that printed all the materials for these kits. And I'm told that normally that would take about 2 weeks. It was a huge order, and they did it in under a week so that we could get these kits out to our businesses. So I want to give a shout out to Bill Fudge and the folks at Fudge Forms as well. Finally, it's worth noting and repeating that we have leaned in to support our small businesses in Oakland County. We've already granted $14 million to thousands of businesses, small businesses across Oakland County, to help them bridge the gap between the pandemic's onset and when they can reopen. I'm working with the board to revisit another round of those grants if necessary, and frankly, I think that's probably going to be likely. This isn't going to be over anytime soon. We know that. This day isn't about celebrating the total reopening of our economy. This is another important phase in the gradual, phased reopening of getting life back to some kind of normal for our state and our county. It's an important step, But I do want to remind people, coronavirus is still in our community. It is still infecting people every day, and it's killing people almost every day. I think we may have had a day earlier this week where there were no deaths, but that would have been the first one recorded in Oakland County since this started. So we still, from a public health perspective, take this very seriously. When you're not working, you should probably still be at home, and you still need to practice all the social distancing and hygiene and other practices that you've heard about. But we know that we're fighting on two fronts, both a public health front and an economic front, and this is an important day in advancing the fight on the economic front as well. So I'm really pleased to introduce you to these great folks and to the 10,000 kits, and I won't speak any longer because we want to get these kits out the door, and the more I talk, the longer it'll take. But I will at this point now open it up to any questions that first from the folks in the media that are here with us, and then I'll ask if there's anybody on the conference call as well. So sure.
Yeah, so I'm Aaron Jones from Civic Center TV, and I'm wondering, do small businesses have to apply to get these kits, or how is it decided where they're being delivered?
They don't have to apply. They have to request one is simply what they have to do. And so some of them are requesting it through their local DDAs and their chambers of commerce. We have good relationships with all of them, and so do they. So that's why the first wave is going to those folks. But if you're not in a Main Street community, or you're not part of a chamber that you're active in, you can simply go to oakgov.com and then go to the COVID section, and there's a button called Toolkits. And that's how you can request your toolkit. Very simple. Any business in Oakland County that's 50 employees or less are eligible. Thanks. Yeah. Charlie.
Yeah, David, how many of each item is in each kit?
How many of each item in each kit?
How many face masks, how many thousand?
Yeah, I don't want to screw up the number for you, Charlie. I want to see if it's in my notes. It might be, and I didn't. Who wants to help me answer that question? Maybe, yeah. I bet you one of our young people who put these kits together. Come on up, help me answer the question. How many of each thing is in the kit? Who knows the answer to that question? Want to make sure we get you accurate information, Charlie. It's a tough question as it turns out. All right. Introduce yourself, and then, yeah, if you'll help us.
Hi, I'm Michael Abdella. I work at Oakland County. I don't work in this department normally, but we're all pitching in to try and help on this really great project. They're going to get 2 bundles of face masks there. I think there's 25 in each bundle, so they get 50 face masks that they can use. They get a touch-free thermometer, which was very difficult to get, but through a great deal of effort by everybody on the team, we were able to get 10,000 of those for people. They'll get a couple hundred pair of disposable gloves. They're going to get 3 of these bottles of hand sanitizer and surface sanitizer. Those each have 16 ounces in each of them. And then all the other organs they'll have to keep people socially distant and aware, and let them know that the business has been reopened in a way that is in compliance with the governor's orders.
What
So,
about the gowns or totes? The gowns or totes, I think you're calling them?
oh, sorry. The tote itself was also a challenge to get. We had to get a company to actually make 10,000 of these for us. There was just no other way to get that many. So the tote itself was difficult to get, but we stickered it up to let everybody know where they can go, and then we're going to have a reorder program available to the businesses as well. Thank you, Dave.
So that's probably more than you wanted to know. But in total, we're saying there's more than $400 worth of supplies in there. And then the other key thing to know, as I mentioned before, we'll help you get more supplies when that runs out. You know, some businesses will go through that quicker than others, but we're gonna also play the role of supply chain for a lot of these businesses as well. Anything else, Charlie? All right, there may be someone on the call. Is Dustin from Cranes, are you on the call? Do I need to unmute you, or do you just need to hit *6? Nope. Dustin, are you there? All right, he may have dropped off. We'll make sure we get back with you. Well, again, thank you all so much for coming out. Appreciate your time. Good to see everybody. Stay safe.